It's another episode of the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. I'm Steve Casillo. Appreciate you being here today. And as we do every Friday, we bring in our financial philosopher. That would be Phillip Washington Jr. And today we are talking about what is Web 3.0, or as the kids call it, what is Web 3? Subtitled, A Guide to the Future of the Internet. It's Phillip Washington Jr. on the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. What is Web 3.0, a guide to the future of the internet? And you know how sometimes you hear a title, words remind you of other words. And when you came up with this subtitle of A Guide to the Future of the Internet, the first thing I thought of was Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know why it came up, but it was like a guide to the future of the internet.
Yeah, the future of the internet is in space, and we could do a whole podcast on that. So that's probably where you went.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Anyway, let's get into it because we've already gone 2.5 minutes and into our 10-minute nugget of information. What is Web 3.0?
So the simple version of Web 3.0 is think of business completely automated in every aspect of it. So contextually, Web 1 was like storing data. So that's like computers, right? Microsoft computers taking data, storing data, connecting it. And then Web 2 was being able to exchange and share data, like commerce, marketplace. But it was still manual, right? Amazon, Google, even like Coinbase and places that you sell things on, like it was manual. So you had to still have manual people behind the computers shifting things around and sharing things and all that kind of stuff. So Web 3 is where everything is completely automated. So that's why blockchain technology is not the only part, but a big part about it, because the blockchain is an automated financial system. No intermediaries, agreed upon rules. You can't have politicians or big money change the rules to benefit them. It's completely automated. And if you want to plug into the protocol with your balance sheet, you can, and know the rules, for the most part, cannot be changed by the connected and small few, right? But it also incorporates artificial intelligence into Web 3, where that's automating aspects of our business that we can just put on autopilot. Again, if you've played with ChatGPT or the infinite other automated apps that allows us to we tell it what we want to do, and then it automatically kind of does some things. That's Web 3, automation of everything.
And you mentioned, you happened to mention Chat GPT. And so while you were explaining the differences between 1.0, 2.0, and 3, I went on and I typed in, what is Web 3.0? So let's see if it coincides with what you said. So the goal of Web 3.0 is to create a more intelligent, connected, user-centric web that empowers individuals and organizations to share information and collaborate more effectively. And I think AI plays a major part in that.
100%, because AI is connecting the intelligence of all to come up with faster solutions, right? I mean, it's like everything on the web mirrors everything physical, and everything physical mirrors everything invisible, meaning geniuses are people that are able to tap into a higher consciousness that governs the universe and apply that intelligence to solve problems, right? That's where genius comes from. It doesn't come from like looking at physical stuff and recreating it. It comes from somewhere else, inspiration. And so the artificial intelligence is mirroring that on the computer, where it's manually we would have to on our own collaborate and put things together. But AI, I'll use cars for example.
Yeah.
The reason why Tesla is so valuable and will become more valuable. So right now, humans, we operate and we drive, and so we drive based on our emotions and our attention, and that's kind of scary. But once you have, let's take humans completely out. Let's go a complete system where artificial intelligence is operating all the vehicles. Like the way it works is you don't have an AI just for your car. because your AI is plugged into the AI of all. So you no longer have to worry about if you go here, what's the car going to do? Because they simultaneously are saying, I go this way, you go that way. And it thinks and does it lightning speed. And it's way safer, right? Are there going to be accidents? Of course. Are there going to be way less accidents than if humans were driving? 100%. Because, right?
Because humans, because computers think faster than humans.
And they think in unity.
Yeah.
Right. An operation network, there's unity behind it versus like an individual, right? You know, we might make a good decision and the person behind us might not be in harmony with our decision, which means crash.
Right. One guy decides to stop at a red light while the other guy behind him thinking I've got time to make this light, and yeah, that I've seen it happen. You had mentioned on your podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple, that how a business needs to evolve as the internet evolves from 1.0 to 2.0, now heading into 3.0. Mm-hmm. I wonder if maybe you can touch on that.
Yep, and let me pick a specific business. So let's say you're a sales organization, and you're a sales organization where for some reason you were around in the 1920s where we didn't really have telephones. I don't know if we did now, but let's assume we didn't have telephones. And so you were like door to door knocking, right? And if you never evolved your business to pick up like telephone or pick up like the internet or like drive cars, then you're probably out of business, right? And so, or you never use computers, right? So computers would be Web 1.
Yeah.
Right. You're probably out of business. But then if you said, okay, we're finally going to get a computer, but like we're ahead, like let's say you didn't go to Web 2 where you are now able to sell and transact over the internet, then you're still behind and you're creating resistance for your customers, which means you're going to lose customers to the least resistant organization. Now Web 3 is coming. And if you're going, I don't understand it. I'm like, cool. Like the market's going to move without you. The market is not going to wait for you. Like the market is going to move. So if you want to continue to evolve with the marketplace is going to go to the path of least resistance, right? It always goes to the easiest way and fastest way to transact.
Sure.
So Web3 is that. So as a business owner, you have to adapt if you want to survive, right? I mean, that's evolution 101. The organisms that don't adapt don't survive.
Right. The first time I opened a business, I believe it was 1988. First thing I did was I bought a computer. Made sense that I need to, and back then it was data entry. It was keeping track of invoices and things like that. And then the 90s came along. Oh, I hear about this thing called the internet. I guess I need a website. That'd be 2.0? Mm-hmm. All right. And as you were explaining it on your podcast earlier this morning, it made me think about my business, my studio has, and we've called it 1.0, 2.0, and now we are sitting in Podcast Mansfield 3.0. Where 1.0 was kind of what I call the little studio that could. And each time it has evolved into something bigger and better. And those that are watching live on Facebook, they see the green walls behind us, but the finished product is a produced background. And we weren't doing that back in even 2.0. Mm-mm. So the internet is evolving. Or I guess I should change that. My studio is evolving as the internet is evolving, and so 3.0. Let's get this wrapped up nicely into a consumer package here of how does 2.0 transitioning to 3.0 affect the consumer out there?
Everything moves faster. Everything gets easier. As an investor, opportunities open up because most people resist change. And so that creates opportunities because it's coming. Change is undefeated. And so as a consumer, it is all good unless you like are resisting and wishing, things go back the way they were. They're not, they never will. So embrace it, love it. Learn what you need to learn. You got to learn it all, but like find the areas of your life that you want to make easier, and you'll find some solutions in Web3.
Embrace it. Love it.
Absolutely.
So if someone wanted to reach out and embrace or find more love from Phillip Washington Jr.,
Hugs.
How can they reach out to you?
StonehillWealthManagement.com. That's StonehillWealthManagement.com.
There you have it. Your coffee break is over. It's another 10-minute nugget of information, and that is Phillip Washington Jr., as we do every Friday morning right here on the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. Phillip, have a great weekend. I forgot to ask you about Mardi Gras, but next time. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thanks.
We appreciate you listening to the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. By the way, if you own a business and you are interested in being a part of the Consumer Advice Series, if you have the knowledge to give information in 10-minute increments to the consumers, shoot me an email to info@aboutmansfield.com. Again, that is info@aboutmansfield.com. We'll tell you how we can get you all set up. Appreciate it. We do it again next week right here on the podcast.